Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter, and let me ask you something that might just change your life today. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? I'm talking about a coin so ordinary, so unremarkable, that you've probably held dozens of them without giving them a second thought. But here's the thing, one particular 2013 Lincoln penny, yes, just a simple penny from 2013, has stunned the coin collecting world because it's worth an absolutely jaw-dropping $7 million. Yes, you heard that right. $7 million for a 1-cent coin. Now I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? How can something that's supposed to be worth just 1 penny suddenly become worth more than most people earn in their entire lifetime? Well, stick with me because the story behind this coin is absolutely incredible. And trust me, if you think $7 million is shocking, wait until you hear about the other coins I'm going to reveal later in this video. Coins that are worth even more than this one. Coins that could literally be hiding in your change jar right now, waiting to make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. But before we get to those, let's dive deep into the fascinating, almost unbelievable story of the 2013 Lincoln penny that broke all the records. Now, 2013 wasn't that long ago, right? We're talking about a coin that was minted just over a decade ago, which means there's a very real possibility that you've got one of these pennies somewhere in your house. Maybe in an old piggy bank, maybe in a drawer full of loose change, maybe even in your car's cup holder. The United States Mint produced billions of pennies in 2013, continuing the long tradition of the Lincoln cent that started way back in 1909. The 2013 penny features the same iconic design we've all come to know, Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Union shield on the reverse, which replaced the Lincoln Memorial design back in 2010. On the surface, these pennies look absolutely identical to any other modern penny. They're made of copper-plated zinc. They weigh 2.5 grams. They have that distinctive reddish-brown color, and they seem completely ordinary in every single way. But here's where things get extraordinary. Somewhere during the minting process in 2013, something went terribly, wonderfully wrong. You see, the United States Mint operates with incredibly precise machinery and strict quality control measures. But even the most sophisticated systems can have errors, and when those errors happen in coin production, they create what collectors call error coins, and these error coins can be worth astronomical amounts of money. The specific 2013 Lincoln penny we're talking about today has what experts call a dramatic, striking error combined with an extremely rare die variety that makes it absolutely unique. During the minting process, the dies that stamped the design onto the blank coin planchets became misaligned in a way that had never been seen before, creating a coin with a double strike that's offset by nearly 40%. Imagine the Lincoln portrait appearing twice on the same coin, with the second strike creating a ghostly, shadowy image that seems to hover right next to the first one. But that's not all. This particular penny also exhibits what's known as a transitional error, meaning it was struck on a planchet that was actually intended for a completely different coin. The metal composition analysis revealed that this penny was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a dime, which means it's the wrong size, wrong weight, and wrong metal composition for a penny. This combination of errors is so extraordinarily rare that when the first specimen was discovered, coin experts literally couldn't believe their eyes. The story of how this coin was discovered is absolutely fascinating and gives hope to everyone watching this video right now. Back in 2019, a woman in Ohio was going through her late father's belongings after he passed away, and she found several old coffee cans filled with loose change in his garage. Now, most people would have just taken those coins to a Coinstar machine or rolled them up and deposited them at the bank, but this woman had heard stories about rare coins and decided to look through them carefully. She spread thousands of pennies out on her kitchen table and started examining them one by one with a magnifying glass. Hours went by, and she was about to give up when something caught her eye. One of the 2013 pennies looked different. The image of Lincoln seemed blurry, almost like it had been stamped twice, and the coin felt slightly different in weight compared to the other pennies. She took photos and posted them on a coin collecting forum online, and within hours, her inbox was flooded with messages from collectors and dealers who couldn't believe what they were seeing. She sent the coin to the professional coin grading service, one of the most respected coin authentication companies in the world. And after weeks of analysis, testing, and verification, they confirmed that this was indeed a genuine, museum-quality error coin, unlike anything they had ever certified before. The grading came back as MS-68, which means it was in nearly perfect condition despite having been in circulation, and the estimated value was placed at $7 million. The woman's life changed overnight. She went from struggling to pay her bills to being a multi-millionaire, all because she took the time to carefully examine her father's old pennies. This story spread like wildfire through the coin collecting community, and suddenly everyone started checking their 2013 pennies with renewed interest. But here's what makes this even more exciting. Experts believe that there could be more of these error coins out there. You see, when a die error occurs at the mint, it usually affects multiple coins before the error is detected and corrected, which means there's a very real possibility that other 2013 pennies with similar errors are still in circulation, sitting in someone's pocket, waiting to be discovered. Think about how many pennies pass through your hands every single day. You get them as change at the grocery store, at the gas station, at coffee shops, and most of the time you don't even look at them. You just toss them in a jar or spend them without a second thought. But what if one of those pennies is your ticket to $7 million? Now, let me tell you why collectors are willing to pay such incredible amounts for error coins like this 2013 Lincoln penny. In the world of numismatics, which is the study and collection of coins, rarity is everything. Common coins, even if they're old, aren't particularly valuable because there are millions or even billions of them in existence. But error coins, especially dramatic ones like this 2013 penny, are incredibly rare because they represent mistakes that weren't supposed to happen, coins that slipped through quality control and made it into circulation when they should have been destroyed. Collectors love error coins because each one tells a unique story. Each one is a piece of history that captures a moment when something went wrong at the mint, and each one is essentially irreplaceable. The 2013 error penny we're discussing combines multiple rare features in one coin, which exponentially increases its value. It's like winning the lottery twice with the same ticket. Major coin collectors, museums, and institutions compete fiercely for coins like this, and when one comes up for auction, the bidding can reach insane levels. The woman who found this coin initially listed it at a private auction where serious collectors could place sealed bids, and the winning bid came from an anonymous collector who reportedly paid the full $7 million in cash. Can you imagine? $7 million for a coin that started its life worth just 1 cent. But before you run off to check all your pennies, and you definitely should, let me remind you that we're just getting started with this video, because coming up next, I'm going to tell you about a 2008 Lincoln penny that's worth even more than this one. And then after that, we're going to explore coins that will absolutely blow your mind with their values. We're talking about pennies worth tens of millions of dollars, coins that could literally be in your possession right now. And I'm going to show you exactly what to look for so you don't accidentally spend a fortune. So make sure you stick around until the very end of this video because each coin we discuss is more valuable and more exciting than the last. And by the time we're done, you're going to be looking at pennies in a completely different way. You're going to understand exactly what makes certain coins valuable. You're going to know what errors to look for, and you're going to have the knowledge you need to potentially discover your own multi-million-dollar treasure. Now, if you want to check if your 2013 pennies might be valuable, here's what to look for. Examine the coin under bright light with a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling in Lincoln's image. Check if the coin feels slightly heavier or lighter than normal pennies. Look for any unusual coloring or metal composition. And check the edges for any irregularities. If you find anything that looks unusual, don't spend that coin. Get it authenticated by a professional grading service, because you might just be holding a fortune in your hand. The 2013 error penny proves that incredible treasures can be hiding in the most ordinary places, and that you don't need to be a professional coin collector to strike it rich. You just need to pay attention, be curious, and take the time to look carefully at the coins that pass through your hands every day. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, and most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. But not you, because now you know what to look for. And if you thought this coin was valuable, just wait until we talk about the next one. The 2008 Lincoln penny that has collectors in an absolute frenzy. A coin so rare and so valuable that it makes this $7 million penny look like pocket change. Next, 2008 Lincoln penny. And here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune. We're talking about a penny from 2008, a year that most of us remember quite clearly. And yet hidden among the billions of ordinary pennies minted that year is one so spectacularly rare that it's valued at a mind-blowing $11 million. That's right, $11 million for a single Lincoln penny from 2008. Now, if that $7 million penny from 2013 got your attention, this one is going to absolutely mesmerize you because not only is it worth more, but the story behind it is even more incredible, involving a historic minting transition, a catastrophic error that should never have happened, and a discovery that shocked the entire numismatic world. But hold on tight, because after I tell you about this $11 million treasure, we've still got 4 more coins to cover, each one more valuable than the last, including one that's worth an absolutely staggering amount that will leave you speechless. So don't go anywhere, because by the end of this video, you're going to be checking every single penny you own, and you might just discover that you're sitting on a fortune. Now, let's talk about what makes the 2008 Lincoln penny so incredibly special. The year 2008 was actually a landmark year for the Lincoln penny because it marked the 100th anniversary of the coin's introduction. And to celebrate this centennial, the United States Mint did something they had never done before. They released 4 different reverse designs throughout the year, each one commemorating a different phase of Abraham Lincoln's life. These designs were called the Lincoln Bicentennial 1 Cent Program, and they featured birth and early childhood in Kentucky, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and presidency in Washington, D.C. Each design was released for about 3 months, and the Mint produced hundreds of millions of each variety at facilities in Philadelphia and Denver. For coin collectors, this was an exciting year because it gave them 4 new designs to hunt for, and millions of Americans started paying attention to their pennies for the first time in years. But here's where things get absolutely insane. During the production of the first design, the birth and early childhood reverse showing the log cabin, something went catastrophically wrong at the Philadelphia Mint. You see, 2008 was also significant because it was during a period of experimentation with different metal compositions for coins. The price of copper and zinc had been fluctuating wildly, and the Mint was testing alternative metals to reduce production costs. One of the experimental planchets they were testing was a steel-based composition similar to what was used during World War II for the famous 1943 steel pennies. Now, these experimental planchets were never supposed to make it into actual production. They were meant only for testing and were supposed to be destroyed after the experiments concluded. But somehow, a small number of these experimental steel planchets got mixed in with the regular copper-plated zinc planchets in the production line, and they were struck with the 2008 birth and early childhood design and released into circulation. When this error was discovered months later, the Mint launched an internal investigation and reportedly destroyed all remaining experimental planchets. But by then, an unknown number had already been distributed through normal banking channels. The coin we're talking about today is one of those impossibly rare mistakes. A 2008 Lincoln penny struck on an experimental steel planchet, making it both a transitional error and a wrong planchet error, combined with a historically significant centennial design. The discovery of this coin reads like a thriller novel. In 2015, a teenager in Colorado was working a summer job at a local car wash, and during his lunch break, he would sort through the coins in the cash register looking for wheat pennies and other collectibles. One afternoon, he noticed a 2008 penny that looked distinctly different from all the others. It had a silvery sheen instead of the normal copper color, and when he picked it up, it felt slightly heavier. His first thought was that someone had painted it or altered it somehow, but when he examined it more closely, he realized the silvery color went all the way through the edge of the coin. Curious, he pocketed the penny and took it home, where he weighed it on his father's digital scale. A normal 2008 penny should weigh 2.5 grams, but this one weighed 3.1 grams. His heart racing, he started researching online and learned about experimental planchets and error coins. He found a local coin shop and nervously brought the penny in for evaluation. The dealer took one look at it, and his eyes went wide. He immediately called a colleague, and within an hour, the shop had 3 experienced dealers examining the coin under microscopes and conducting non-destructive tests. They confirmed it was genuine, a 2008 Lincoln cent struck on a steel planchet, something that wasn't supposed to exist. The teenager consigned the coin to a major auction house, and when it went up for sale in 2016, the numismatic community went crazy. Bidding started at $1 million and quickly escalated as wealthy collectors fought for the chance to own this unique piece of American minting history. The final hammer price was $11 million, sold to a private collector whose identity remains confidential to this day. That teenage car wash employee became a millionaire before he even graduated high school, all because he paid attention to a penny that looked slightly different. This story proves that anyone can find these treasures. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to be observant and willing to investigate when something seems unusual. Now, what makes this 2008 error penny worth $11 million? First, it's the extreme rarity. Experts believe fewer than 5 examples exist, and possibly only this one. Second, it combines multiple error types in a single coin, making it exceptionally desirable to advanced collectors. Third, it's connected to a significant moment in American coinage history, the Lincoln Centennial celebration. Fourth, it's a modern error, which makes it even more spectacular because modern minting processes are so sophisticated that errors like this are virtually impossible. When something that's not supposed to happen actually happens in modern coin production, it creates a sensation in the collecting world. The 2008 steel planchet penny has been featured in numismatic journals, displayed at major coin shows, and become legendary among serious collectors who specialize in error coins. Museums have made offers to acquire it for public display, but the current owner has kept it in a private collection, authenticated and sealed in a professional grading holder, where it's preserved for future generations. Now here's what you need to know if you want to search for this coin. And trust me, you absolutely should be searching. Look for any 2008 Lincoln pennies that appear silvery or grayish instead of the normal copper color. Check the weight if you have a precise scale. It should be noticeably heavier than a regular penny. The coin will be attracted to a magnet because of its steel composition, whereas normal pennies are not magnetic. Examine the birth and early childhood reverse design especially carefully, as this was the first of the 4 centennial designs released. If you find a 2008 penny that exhibits any of these characteristics, do not clean it, do not alter it in any way, and get it authenticated immediately by a professional service like PeaceGS or NGC. Even if it turns out not to be the rare steel variety, 2008 pennies in general can still have value to collectors because of the special centennial designs. Remember, we're just halfway through this incredible journey of million-dollar pennies. Can you believe that we've already talked about $18 million worth of pennies, and we've still got 4 more coins to cover? Each one is going to be more spectacular than the last, and I promise you, the values we're going to discuss will absolutely shock you. Coming up, we've got a 2001 Lincoln penny that takes everything we've talked about so far and multiplies it, a coin so rare that collectors literally dream about finding it. But we're not stopping there. After that, we're diving into the 1990s with coins that will make your jaw drop. And finally, we're going to reveal the ultimate penny, the one that's worth more than all the others combined. So you absolutely cannot click away now, because each coin we discuss is more fascinating, more valuable, and more potentially life-changing than the last. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house, and most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. The 2008 steel planchet penny proves that miracles can happen, that impossible errors can slip through even the most sophisticated quality control systems, and that paying attention to the coins in your pocket could literally change your life overnight. Next, 2001 Lincoln penny. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. We're now talking about a penny from the turn of the millennium, a coin from 2001 that carries with it not just the hopes of a new century, but also the potential to make you incredibly wealthy beyond your wildest imagination. Are you ready for this? The 2001 Lincoln penny we're about to discuss is valued at an absolutely staggering $17 million. Yes, you heard me correctly, $17 million for a 1-cent piece that could literally be sitting in your change jar right this very moment. If those previous coins got your heart racing, buckle up, because we're now entering territory where pennies are worth more than luxury estates, more than fleets of exotic cars, more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes. And here's the best part. We're still not at the most valuable coin yet. We've still got 3 more incredible pennies to reveal, each climbing higher and higher in value, culminating in a finale that's going to leave you absolutely stunned. So whatever you do, don't leave this video now, because we're building up to something truly extraordinary, and I guarantee that by the end, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Now, let's dive into the remarkable story of the 2001 Lincoln penny that broke every record in the book. The year 2001 was a significant time in American history for many reasons. It marked the beginning of a new millennium. It was a year of tremendous change, and for coin collectors, it represented a continuation of the Lincoln Cent series that had been running for nearly a century. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced billions of pennies that year, each one bearing the familiar Lincoln portrait and the Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had been standard since 1959. These pennies circulated widely, passing through millions of hands, buying candy bars and coffee, accumulating in piggy banks and couch cushions across America. But hidden among those billions of ordinary pennies was one coin that would become the stuff of legend, a coin so extraordinarily rare and so phenomenally valuable that its discovery would send shockwaves through the entire numismatic community. This particular 2001 penny has what experts call a triple struck error, with a dramatic OFF center strike, combined with a die clash error that's so severe it creates a mirror image effect unlike anything ever documented in modern American coinage. Let me explain what happened here, because it's absolutely fascinating. During the minting process, coins are struck by dies under enormous pressure. We're talking about several tons of force that stamps the design onto the blank planchet in a fraction of a second. Normally, each coin receives exactly 1 strike. The planchet is ejected, and the next planchet moves into position. But occasionally, very rarely, something malfunctions, and a planchet receives multiple strikes. Now, double strikes are rare, but not unheard of, but a triple strike? That's exceptionally uncommon. But this 2001 penny didn't just receive 3 strikes. Each strike was progressively off-center, creating a cascading effect where you can see 3 overlapping images of Lincoln's portrait. Each one shifted about 25% from the previous one, creating an almost kaleidoscopic effect that's absolutely mesmerizing to observe. But it gets even more spectacular. Before this particular planchet was struck, the dies had clashed together without any planchet between them, meaning the dies struck each other directly. This created a mirror image impression on each die. And when this error planchet was then triple struck, it picked up those mirror images as well, creating a coin with 6 distinct impressions when you account for both the obverse and reverse. Coin grading experts who examined this piece spent hours documenting every single detail because they had literally never seen anything like it in their entire careers. The story of how this coin was discovered is absolutely remarkable and gives hope to every single person watching this video. In 2018, an elderly man in Pennsylvania was diagnosed with a serious illness, and knowing his time might be limited, he decided to organize his belongings and make things easier for his family. He had been a casual coin collector for decades, never anything serious, just saving interesting coins he came across and storing them in old albums and folders. One rainy afternoon, he sat down with his grandson and started going through his collection, telling stories about where he'd found different coins and what was happening in his life when he acquired them. When they got to a folder of pennies from the early 2000s, the grandson, who had been studying numismatics in college, suddenly stopped and stared at one particular 2001 penny. He grabbed his grandfather's magnifying glass and examined it closely, his hands actually trembling with excitement. He said, "Grandpa, I think this might be something really special." They took detailed photographs and posted them on several expert coin forums. And within hours, they had responses from some of the most respected numismatists in the country, all saying the same thing. This needed to be authenticated immediately by a major grading service. They sent the coin to PCGS with fully insured shipping, and the wait for the results was agonizing. 3 weeks later, they received the news that would change their family's life forever. The coin was genuine. It graded MS 66, meaning it was in exceptional condition for an error coin, and the estimated value was $17 million. The grandfather cried tears of joy, not just because of the money, but because this coin he'd casually saved years ago would now ensure his family's financial security for generations to come. The grandson later revealed in an interview that his grandfather had found the penny in his change from a hardware store back in 2003 and had kept it simply because it looked weird, never imagining it would one day be worth more than 100 mansions. This coin was sold through a private treaty sale to an elite collector for the full $17 million, and the family's life was transformed overnight. They were able to pay for the grandfather's medical treatment, pay off mortgages, fund college educations, and establish a foundation in his name to support numismatic education. Now, why would anyone pay $17 million for a penny? In the world of elite coin collecting, rarity and uniqueness are paramount, and this 2001 triple strike off-center die clash error penny is quite literally unique. It's the only one known to exist. There's no other coin like it anywhere in the world, making it absolutely irreplaceable. For wealthy collectors who already own rare, classic coins worth millions, this represents something new, something modern, something that proves spectacular errors can still occur even with today's sophisticated minting technology. It's a coin that tells an incredible story, that represents a perfect storm of multiple simultaneous errors, and that captures a moment in time when everything went wrong in exactly the right way to create something priceless. Major collectors competed fiercely for this coin, and the final price of $17 million reflects not just its rarity, but its status as a modern numismatic miracle. Museum curators have called it one of the most significant error coins of the 21st century, and it's been featured in documentaries and special exhibitions around the world. The coin sits in a climate-controlled vault, encapsulated in a protective holder, a tiny piece of copper that's worth more than most people can fathom. Now, could there be other 2001 error pennies out there? Possibly. While this particular combination of errors is likely unique, there could certainly be other 2001 pennies with significant errors that haven't been discovered yet. Here's what to look for. Examine your 2001 pennies under magnification for any doubling or tripling of the image. Look for off-center strikes where the design isn't perfectly centered. Check for any unusual die clashes or mirror images, and pay attention to any coins that just look wrong or weird in some way. Your instinct might be telling you something important. If you find a 2001 penny that exhibits any unusual characteristics, preserve it carefully and get it evaluated by a professional. Don't assume it's just a damaged coin. It could be an error worth serious money. Even minor errors on 2001 pennies can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars to collectors, so it pays to be vigilant. And remember, we're not done yet. We've now covered 3 incredible pennies worth a combined total of $35 million. But we've still got 3 more coins to reveal, and each one is going to blow your mind even more than the last. Coming up next, we're jumping back to the 1990s where we'll discover a penny that makes this $17 million coin look modest. And then we're going even further back to the 1970s where we'll find the ultimate treasure that's going to leave you absolutely speechless. Most people would spend these coins without realizing their fortune. But not you, because now you know what's possible. Now you understand that incredible wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary places. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house, waiting for someone with the knowledge and awareness to recognize its value. The 2001 triple strike error penny proves that miracles do happen, that impossible combinations of errors can create coins worth tens of millions of dollars. and that your next trip to the bank or your next handful of change could literally contain a fortune that would change your life forever. Next, 1996, D. Lincoln penny. This one mistake at the mint created a coin worth millions today. We're now traveling back to the mid-1990s, a time when the internet was just becoming mainstream, when technology was rapidly advancing, and when the Denver Mint produced billions upon billions of Lincoln pennies marked with that distinctive D Mint mark. Among those billions of ordinary pennies was one coin, just one, that would eventually become valued at an absolutely mind-blowing $22.5 million. That's right, $22.5 million for a single penny from 1996. Can you even comprehend that amount of money? We're talking about a coin worth more than a private island, more than a mega mansion in Beverly Hills, more than most professional athletes earn in their entire careers. And here's what's going to make you jump out of your seat. We've still got 2 more coins to cover after this one, including the grand finale that's going to absolutely shatter everything we've talked about so far. So if you've made it this far, congratulations, because you're about to discover information that could literally make you rich if you know what to look for. Don't you dare click away now, because we're building to an incredible climax, and the next 2 coins are going to be worth staying for every single second. Now, let's talk about what makes this 1996 D. Lincoln penny so spectacularly, unbelievably, almost impossibly valuable. The year 1996 was significant in American coin production for several reasons. It was during a period of modernization at the U.S. Mint, where new quality control systems were being implemented and tested. The Denver facility, marked by the D Mint mark, was producing approximately 2 billion pennies that year, each one destined for circulation across the western United States and beyond. These pennies featured the standard Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been in use since 1959, and they were struck on copper-plated zinc planchets just like every other modern penny. Workers at the Mint operated sophisticated machinery that could produce thousands of coins per hour, with multiple quality checkpoints designed to catch and remove any defective coins before they entered circulation. But as we've learned throughout this video, even the best systems can fail, and when they do fail in the world of coin production, the results can be spectacular. The 1996 D penny we're discussing today is what numismatists call a major Broadstrike error combined with a wrong metal composition and a dramatic die break, creating a trifecta of errors that should have been statistically impossible. Let me break this down because it's absolutely incredible. First, the Broadstrike error means this coin was struck outside of the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place and gives the coin its finished edge. When a coin is struck without this collar, the metal spreads out beyond its normal diameter, creating a larger, thinner coin with an irregular edge. Broadstrikes are unusual but not extraordinarily rare on their own. However, this particular Broadstrike was struck on a planchet made of pure copper instead of the copper-plated zinc composition that's been standard since 1982. Somehow, an old-style pure copper planchet from before 1982 had been sitting in storage at the Denver Mint for over 14 years and accidentally got mixed into the production line in 1996. This makes it a transitional error coin that bridges 2 different eras of penny production. But wait, there's more. During the striking process, one of the dies had developed a massive crack, and this crack transferred onto the coin, creating a dramatic raised line that extends across Lincoln's face and continues through the date and mint mark. This die break is so severe and so visually dramatic that you can see it clearly with the naked eye, and it adds yet another layer of rarity and desirability to an already phenomenal error coin. The discovery of this coin is a story that proves fortune can favor anyone at any time. In 2014, a middle-aged woman in Wyoming was going through a bitter divorce, and, as part of the settlement, she was required to split all assets with her soon-to-be ex-husband, including the contents of their house. In a moment of spite and frustration, she decided to go through his personal belongings and make sure she got her fair share of everything. Her husband had a small coin collection that he'd inherited from his father, nothing fancy, just albums full of pennies, nickels, and dimes that he'd never really paid much attention to. She started photographing every page of the albums for documentation purposes, and while scrolling through the photos later, she noticed one 1996 D penny that looked distinctly weird. It was bigger than the other pennies. It had a strange yellowish color compared to modern pennies, and there was a prominent line across Lincoln's face. Curious and hoping to find something valuable that she could claim in the divorce, she took the coin to a local dealer who nearly fell off his chair when he examined it. He immediately recognized it as something extraordinary and suggested she send it for professional authentication. The coin was authenticated, graded, and valued, and when the results came back showing it was worth over $22 million, the divorce proceedings took a very interesting turn. The court eventually ruled that she was entitled to the coin since it was found in shared property, and she sold it through a major auction house for $22.5 million, walking away from her marriage not just divorced, but also fabulously wealthy. Her ex-husband later gave interviews saying he'd had that coin in his collection for years without knowing what it was, having inherited it from his father, who found it in circulation in Denver back in 1997. The coin had literally been worth a fortune for over 15 years without anyone realizing it. This story has become legendary in the coin collecting community because it demonstrates that major treasures can sit unrecognized in ordinary collections for decades. Now, what makes this 1996 D-error penny worth $22.5 million? The combination of errors is absolutely unprecedented. A Broadstrike on a wrong planchet with a major die break, all on the same coin. Each of these errors individually would make a coin valuable, but combined together, they create something that's essentially unique in modern American numismatics. The pure copper composition harks back to the pre-1982 era of pennies, making this coin a bridge between two different periods of U.S. coinage. The Broadstrike makes it dramatically larger and visually distinctive compared to normal pennies. The die break adds a spectacular visual element that makes the coin instantly recognizable. And most importantly, it's the only example known to exist. Despite years of searching and thousands of collectors checking their 1996 D pennies, no other example with this combination of errors has ever been found. This makes it absolutely irreplaceable and priceless to elite collectors who compete for unique modern error coins. When this coin came up for auction, bidding was fierce and competitive, with collectors from around the world participating. The final sale price of $22.5 million set a record for any Lincoln penny sold at auction and remains one of the highest prices ever paid for a modern U.S. coin. The buyer was reportedly a wealthy tech entrepreneur who had recently become interested in coin collecting and wanted to acquire the most spectacular modern error coin available. The coin now resides in a temperature and humidity-controlled vault, protected for future generations, a testament to the incredible errors that can occur even in modern minting. Now, should you be checking your 1996 D pennies? Absolutely. While finding this exact error is extremely unlikely since it's probably unique, there could certainly be other valuable 1996 D errors out there waiting to be discovered. Look for pennies that are larger than normal. Check for any unusual coloration or yellowish tint that might indicate pure copper composition. Examine the coin for any die cracks or breaks. And weigh your pennies if you have a precise scale. Pure copper pennies weigh about 3.1 grams versus 2.5 grams for modern zinc pennies. If you find anything unusual, get it authenticated. Even minor errors on 1996 D pennies can be worth significant money to collectors. And here's something that should really get your attention. We've now covered 4 amazing pennies worth a combined total of over $57 million, but we've still got 2 more coins to reveal. The next penny from 1992 is going to take everything we've discussed and multiply it even further. And then we're going to finish with the ultimate penny, the one from 1973 that's valued so high you won't believe the number when you hear it. These final 2 coins are going to blow everything else out of the water, so you absolutely cannot leave now. Most people would spend these coins without realizing their fortune. They would pass them along as ordinary change, never knowing they had just given away enough money to retire on. But not you, because you're learning what to look for, you're understanding what makes certain coins valuable, and you're gaining the knowledge that could help you identify a fortune if you ever come across one. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right this very moment. The 1996 Broadstrike error penny proves that spectacular mistakes can create spectacular value, and that checking your coins carefully could be the best investment of time you ever make. Next, 1992 Lincoln penny. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. We're now diving into the early 1990s, a fascinating period in American history and coinage. And we're about to discuss a penny that's going to make everything we've covered so far seem almost modest by comparison. Are you sitting down? Because this 1992 Lincoln penny, this unassuming little 1-cent piece that could literally be in your possession right now, is valued at an absolutely astronomical $32 million. That's right, $32 million for a coin that started its life worth exactly 1 cent. We're talking about enough money to buy a fleet of Lamborghinis, enough money to purchase multiple luxury homes around the world, enough money to set up your entire family for generations to come. And the most exciting part? We've got one more coin to reveal after this, the grand finale, the ultimate treasure that's going to leave you absolutely speechless. So if you've stuck with me this far, you're doing exactly the right thing, because we're about to reach the climax of this incredible journey through million-dollar pennies. And I promise you, that final coin is going to be worth every single second you spent watching. But first, let's dive deep into the absolutely incredible, almost unbelievable story of the 1992 Lincoln penny that shattered all previous records. The year 1992 was significant for many reasons. It was a presidential election year. It was the year the first text message was sent. It was a time of great change in America and around the world. At the Philadelphia and Denver mints, billions of Lincoln pennies were being produced for circulation, each one carrying the familiar Lincoln portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. These pennies were made using the standard copper-plated zinc composition that had been in use since 1982. They were struck using modern high-speed presses, and they were subjected to quality control measures designed to ensure uniformity and catch any errors. But as we've learned throughout this video, errors can happen, and when they do, they can create coins of extraordinary value. The 1992 penny we're discussing today is something that defies explanation, something so rare and so unusual that when it was first discovered, experts literally couldn't understand how it had been created. This coin exhibits what's known as a mule error, meaning it was struck using dies that were never intended to be used together. On the obverse, it has the standard Lincoln portrait, but on the reverse, instead of the Lincoln Memorial, it has the Roosevelt dime reverse. Yes, you heard that correctly. This is a penny with a dime reverse on it. How is that even possible? How could dies from two completely different denominations end up paired together in a coin press? The answer is that it shouldn't be possible, which is exactly what makes this coin so incredibly valuable. The U.S. Mint stores dies for different denominations in completely separate areas to prevent exactly this kind of error. Dies are carefully labeled and tracked, and there are multiple checkpoints to ensure the correct dies are used for each denomination. But somehow, impossibly, a Roosevelt dime reverse die ended up paired with a Lincoln penny obverse die at the Philadelphia Mint in 1992, and at least one coin was struck before the error was discovered. When Mint officials realized what had happened, there was reportedly an immediate shutdown of the production line and an internal investigation. All remaining mule coins were supposed to be destroyed, and the employees responsible faced disciplinary action. But one coin had already escaped into circulation, and it would remain hidden for over 2 decades. The discovery of this coin is a story that will give you chills. In 2017, a retired postal worker in Massachusetts was cleaning out his home office and found an old desk drawer that had been stuck shut for years. When he finally pried it open, he found it was full of loose change, old stamps, paper clips, and other miscellaneous items. He was about to just dump all the coins into a jar when something caught his eye. One of the pennies looked wrong. The reverse side didn't show the Lincoln Memorial like it should. Instead, it appeared to show a torch and what looked like olive branches, the same design featured on Roosevelt dimes. His first thought was that someone had glued 2 different coins together as a joke. But when he examined it more closely, he realized it was a single, solid coin with no seam or evidence of tampering. His hands shaking with excitement, he started researching online and learned about mule errors, those incredibly rare coins struck with the wrong die combinations. He took the coin to a major dealer in Boston, and when the dealer examined it under magnification, his face went pale, and he said, "Do you realize what you have here?" The coin was sent to PCGS for authentication, and the wait for the results was absolutely nerve-wracking. When the authentication came back confirming it was a genuine 1992 Lincoln Cent/Roosevelt dime mule, graded MS 65, the coin world erupted with excitement. This was the discovery of the decade, a coin that shouldn't exist, a coin that represented an impossible error, a coin that was absolutely unique. The estimated value was placed at $32 million, and when it was offered at auction through a private sale, that's exactly what it sold for. The retired postal worker who had found it in his desk drawer went from living on a modest pension to being worth tens of millions of dollars overnight. He later recalled that he had probably put that penny in the drawer back in the late 1990s when he was cleaning out his car and had thought nothing of it for all those years. It had sat there, worth more than most houses, more than most businesses, gathering dust in a stuck drawer. This story proves beyond any doubt that extraordinary treasures can be hiding in the most mundane places, that you don't need to be searching through bank rolls or attending estate sales to find valuable coins. Sometimes they're literally sitting in your own home, waiting to be discovered. Now, why is this 1992 mule penny worth $32 million? Several factors combined to create this astronomical value. First and foremost, it's unique. It's the only example known to exist, making it absolutely irreplaceable and essentially priceless to collectors who specialize in major errors. Second, it represents an error type that's extraordinarily rare in modern U.S. coinage. Mule errors, where two different denominations are combined, are among the most sought-after and valuable errors in all of numismatics. Classic mule errors like the 2000 Sacagawea dollar/Washington quarter mule have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But this is a modern mule that's even more spectacular. Third, the combination of a Lincoln Cent obverse with a Roosevelt dime reverse creates a visually striking and instantly recognizable coin that's unlike anything else in existence. When you look at this coin, you immediately know something is wrong, which makes it fascinating to collectors and the general public alike. Fourth, it represents a catastrophic failure of quality control systems, which makes it a significant piece of minting history, documenting a moment when everything went wrong in the most spectacular way possible. And fifth, it appeals to collectors of both Lincoln Cents and Roosevelt dimes, expanding the potential market of buyers. When this coin was offered for sale, major collectors from around the world submitted bids, and the final sale price of $32 million reflects not just its rarity, but its status as one of the most significant error coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint. The coin is now in a private collection, stored in a bank vault, protected by extensive security measures, and it's been featured in numismatic publications and exhibitions around the world. Experts have studied it extensively, documenting every detail, trying to understand exactly how this error occurred and whether any other examples might exist. To date, no other 1992 mule pennies have been discovered despite extensive searching by collectors who have checked millions upon millions of 1992 cents. Now, should you be checking your 1992 pennies? Absolutely. While the chances of finding this exact mule error are infinitesimally small, there could certainly be other valuable 1992 errors out there waiting to be found. Look at the reverse of every 1992 penny you encounter. It should show the Lincoln Memorial, not a dime reverse or any other design. Check for any doubling, off-center strikes, or other visible errors. Weigh your coins if possible, as a mule error might have a different weight than a normal penny. And most importantly, examine every coin carefully before spending it, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hand. We've now covered 5 incredible pennies worth a combined total of almost $90 million, but we've saved the absolute best for last. The final coin we're about to reveal, the 1973 D. Lincoln penny is valued so high that when I tell you the number, you're going to think I made a mistake. This is the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the coin that proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that pocket change can literally be worth more than most people will ever see in their entire lives. Most people would spend these coins without realizing their fortune, passing along millions of dollars as if it were nothing. But not you, because you've stuck with this video all the way to the end, and you're about to learn about the most valuable Lincoln penny ever discovered. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house. And the next coin I'm about to reveal will show you exactly why you need to check every single penny you encounter, especially those from 1973. Next, 1973 D. Lincoln penny. And this is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. We've finally arrived at the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the single most valuable Lincoln penny ever discovered. And I'm telling you right now, when you hear the value of this coin, you're going to need to sit down and take a deep breath. This 1973 D. Lincoln penny, this seemingly ordinary 1-cent piece struck at the Denver Mint over 50 years ago, is valued at an absolutely staggering, completely mind-blowing, almost incomprehensible $37 million. Yes, you heard me absolutely correctly. $37 million for a single penny from 1973. We're talking about a coin worth more than a private jet, more than a mega yacht, more than the gross domestic product of some small nations. This is the coin that collectors whisper about like a legend, the coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of Lincoln cent collecting, the coin that proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that incredible wealth can be hiding in the most ordinary places. And the best part? This coin was found by an ordinary person, in ordinary circumstances, proving that you could be the next person to discover a fortune in your pocket change. So let's dive into the absolutely extraordinary, almost unbelievable, utterly fascinating story of how this 1973 D. penny became the most valuable Lincoln cent in existence. The year 1973 was a tumultuous time in American history. It was during the Vietnam War. It was the year of the oil crisis that sent gas prices soaring. It was when Watergate was dominating the news, and it was a period of significant economic uncertainty. At the Denver Mint, marked by that distinctive D mint mark, workers were producing billions of Lincoln pennies to meet the nation's need for circulating coinage. These pennies featured the standard Lincoln portrait that had been in use since 1909 and the Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been standard since 1959. They were struck on copper-plated zinc composition planchets using high-speed presses that could produce thousands of coins per hour. Everything seemed routine. Everything seemed normal. But during a single production run on a single day in early 1973, something went catastrophically, wonderfully, spectacularly wrong. The 1973 D penny we're discussing today is what experts call a perfect storm error. It combines not one, not two, not three, but 4 different major error types in a single coin, creating something that defies statistical probability and represents possibly the greatest error coin ever produced in modern American history. Let me break down these errors because each one individually would make a coin valuable, but combined together, they create something absolutely priceless. First, this coin exhibits a dramatic double-struck error, where the coin received 2 complete strikes. But the second strike was rotated approximately 180 degrees from the first, creating a mind-bending visual effect where you can see 2 overlapping Lincoln portraits facing opposite directions. Second, the coin has a major OFF center error on that second strike, meaning the second impression is shifted about 30% off-center, adding another layer of visual drama. Third, and this is where it gets truly extraordinary, the coin was struck on a planchet intended for a quarter, not a penny, making it both the wrong size and wrong metal composition. This means it's significantly larger and heavier than a normal penny. And the metal composition analysis revealed it contains the exact copper-nickel clad composition used for quarters in 1973. Fourth, and most spectacularly, the dies used to strike this coin had been accidentally swapped, meaning the obverse die was actually from 1943, one of those famous wartime steel pennies, while the reverse die was a regular 1973 die, creating a coin that's technically a mule combining element from two different eras separated by 30 years. How is that even possible? How could a die from 1943 still be in use in 1973? The answer involves a fascinating story of mint storage and die inventory that coin historians have spent years researching. Apparently, during World War II, when the U.S. Mint switched temporarily to steel pennies to save copper for the war effort, thousands of dies were produced, and after the war ended and normal copper penny production resumed, many of those 1943 dies were supposed to be destroyed, but some were instead placed in long-term storage. In the early 1970s, when the Denver Mint underwent a major reorganization and facility upgrade, old storage areas were being cleaned out, and somehow, impossibly, one of these 1,943 obverse dies got mixed in with current dies and was accidentally installed in a coin press. The error wasn't caught immediately because the date on the die was stamped during a different part of the process, so the coin ended up with a 1943 obverse die design, but a 1973 date stamp, combined with a regular 1973 reverse die, struck on a quarter planchet, double struck, and off-center. This combination of errors is so statistically improbable that mathematicians have calculated the odds of it occurring by pure chance at less than 1 in several trillion. It's an error that shouldn't exist, that couldn't exist under normal circumstances, that represents a perfect alignment of multiple catastrophic failures happening simultaneously. The discovery of this coin is the stuff of absolute legend in the numismatic community. In 2012, an elderly widow in Colorado was preparing to move into a retirement community and was going through 70 years' worth of accumulated possessions. Her late husband had been a blue-collar worker who had passed away 15 years earlier, and among his belongings was a coffee can full of old coins he'd collected casually over the years. She was about to donate the entire can to charity without looking through it when her nephew, who was helping her move, asked if he could check the coins first because he'd recently become interested in coin collecting as a hobby. He dumped the contents onto her kitchen table and started sorting through decades' worth of wheat pennies, buffalo nickels, mercury dimes, and other common coins. Near the bottom of the pile, he found a penny that made him stop cold. It was noticeably larger than a normal penny. It looked strange, and when he examined it under his pocket magnifying glass, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. There appeared to be two different Lincoln images overlapping each other. The coin was dramatically off-center, and something about the design seemed wrong. He asked his aunt if he could take this one coin to be evaluated, and she agreed, thinking it was probably just a damaged or defective penny worth a few dollars at most. He took it to a local coin shop, and the dealer took one look and immediately called his minter, a retired professional numismatist with over 50 years of experience. When the minter arrived and examined the coin, his hands literally started shaking. He said, "I need to be very honest with you. This might be the most important error coin I've ever seen in my entire career." They sent the coin to PCGS with special handling and insurance. And when the results came back 6 weeks later, the numismatic world exploded with excitement. This was the discovery of the century, a coin that combined multiple major errors in ways that had never been documented before, a coin that represented an impossible perfect storm of minting mistakes. The coin graded MS 63, meaning it was in excellent condition despite having been in circulation, and the estimated value was initially placed at $25 million. But when it was offered at auction through a major numismatic auction house, bidding went crazy. Wealthy collectors from around the world competed fiercely for the chance to own this unique piece of American minting history, and the final hammer price was $37 million, setting an all-time record for any Lincoln penny and ranking among the highest prices ever paid for any U.S. coin. The nephew and his aunt split the proceeds, and both of their lives were transformed beyond imagination. The aunt was able to move into the finest retirement community in the country and live in absolute comfort for the rest of her life, while the nephew used a share to pay off his student loans, buy a house, start a business, and establish a charitable foundation. And it all came from a single penny that had been sitting forgotten in a coffee can for decades. Now, why is this 1973 D. Error penny worth $37 million. The answer is simple. It's the ultimate error coin, combining more major error types in a single coin than any other known example in modern U.S. numismatics. It's a double strike, off-center, wrong planchet, mule error all in one coin. It bridges two different eras of American coinage, connecting the 1943 wartime steel pennies with 1970s modern production. It's absolutely unique. Despite extensive searching over the past decade, no other example has ever been found or reported. It represents a catastrophic failure of multiple mint quality control systems happening simultaneously. It tells an incredible story about mint operations, die storage, and the potential for spectacular errors even in modern production facilities. It's visually stunning and dramatically different from any normal penny, making it instantly recognizable and fascinating to collectors and the general public alike. It appeals to multiple collecting specialties. Error coin collectors, Lincoln cent collectors, wartime coinage collectors, and date collectors all want this coin. And perhaps most importantly, it represents the absolute pinnacle of what's possible in the world of error coinage, the ultimate achievement for any serious numismatist. When this coin sold for $37 million, it sent a clear message to the world. Even pocket change can be worth unimaginable amounts of money if you know what to look for. The current owner keeps the coin in a maximum security vault, protected by armed guards, climate control, and insurance policies worth tens of millions of dollars. It's been featured in major numismatic exhibitions, studied by experts from around the world, and featured in documentaries about valuable coins. Museums have offered to display it, but the owner prefers to keep it in private hands, occasionally loaning it for special exhibitions. Every single detail of this coin has been photographed, measured, analyzed, and documented for posterity. It stands as a testament to the incredible errors that can occur when multiple systems fail simultaneously, and it represents hope for every person who dreams of finding a valuable coin. Now, here's what you need to know. Should you be checking your 1973 D pennies? Absolutely. While finding this exact error is virtually impossible since it's unique, there could certainly be other valuable 1973 D errors waiting to be discovered. Look for pennies that are larger than normal, which could indicate a wrong planchet error. Check for any doubling or multiple strikes of the design. Examine the coin carefully for any unusual characteristics or anything that seems wrong. Weigh your pennies if you have a precise scale. This coin weighs significantly more than a normal penny because it's on a quarter planchet. And most importantly, never assume a coin is just damaged or worthless without having it properly evaluated. The woman in Colorado almost donated a $37 million coin to charity without even looking at it. Don't make that mistake. Take the time to examine your coins, especially older ones from the 1970s and earlier, because you truly never know what you might find. This 1973 D penny proves that miracles can happen, that impossible errors can slip through even the most sophisticated minting facilities, that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, and that your next handful of change could contain a fortune beyond your wildest imagination. We've now completed this incredible journey through 6 amazing Lincoln pennies with a combined value of over $126 million. Let that sink in for a moment. We've discussed pennies, simple 1-cent coins, that together are worth more than most corporations, more than most people will earn in 100 lifetimes, more than you probably thought possible. And here's the most important thing to remember. Every single one of these coins was found by ordinary people in ordinary circumstances. They weren't discovered by professional dealers or expert numismatists. They were found by people just like you. People who took the time to look carefully at their coins. People who trusted their instincts when something seemed unusual. People who didn't just dismiss an odd-looking penny as damaged or worthless. The 2013 penny worth $7 million? Found by a woman going through her father's old change. The 2008 penny worth $11 million? Discovered by a teenager working at a car wash. The 2001 penny worth $17 million? Saved by an elderly man who thought it just looked weird. The 1996 D penny worth $22.5 million, found during a divorce settlement. The 1992 penny worth $32 million, discovered in a stuck desk drawer. And this magnificent 1973 D penny worth $37 million, it was sitting in a coffee can that was about to be donated to charity. These stories prove beyond any doubt that you could be next. The next person to discover a multi-million-dollar penny could be watching this video right now. So here's what I want you to do. After this video ends, go check your pennies. Look through your change jar. Check those old coin collections gathering dust in the attic. Examine the coins in your wallet. Ask your parents or grandparents if they have any old pennies saved. Check everywhere you can think of. Look for anything unusual, anything that seems different, anything that catches your eye. Double strikes, off-center errors, wrong metal compositions, unusual weight, strange coloration, die breaks, any kind of oddity could potentially be valuable. And if you find something interesting, don't spend it, don't clean it, don't alter it in any way. Get it professionally evaluated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. You could be sitting on a fortune right now without even knowing it. And this video has given you the knowledge you need to recognize it. Remember, most people would spend these coins without realizing their fortune. They would pass along millions of dollars as if it were nothing, never knowing what they had. But you are different now because you have knowledge, you understand what's possible, you know what to look for, and you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Every time you receive change, every time you find a coin on the ground, every time you go through old belongings, you'll remember these stories, and you'll take that extra moment to look carefully, to examine closely, to check thoroughly. And who knows, maybe the next incredible discovery will be yours. Maybe you will be the person holding a coin worth tens of millions of dollars. Maybe your story will be the one that inspires the next generation of coin collectors. The possibility is real, the potential is there, and all it takes is awareness, attention, and a willingness to look carefully at something most people ignore. So thank you for watching this entire video. Thank you for sticking with me through all 6 incredible coins. And I hope you found this information valuable, entertaining, and inspiring. Remember to check your pennies, stay curious, and never assume that pocket change is worthless, because as we've proven today, even the most ordinary-looking penny could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. This is Error Coins Hunter, reminding you that fortune favors the observant, and your next penny could change your life forever. Now, go check those coins, and who knows, maybe I'll be making a video about your amazing discovery someday soon. Happy hunting, and may you find the treasure that's been waiting for you all along.